जी दोस्तों, नमस्कार, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल। मैं दानिश महाजन प्रोग्राम बदलता दौर में आपका एक बार फिर से स्वागत। आज रविवार का दिन, आज एक और हमारे साथ स्पेशल गेस्ट। आज के जो गेस्ट हैं वो बहुत खास हैं, उनसे आपको रूबरू करवाऊंगा। उनके कुछ प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं डिसेबिलिटीज के ऊपर, तो उसके ऊपर भी बात करेंगे। बहुत बार ऐसा कहा जाता है कि जो रिलीजियस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं उनका जो प्री कंसीव नोशन है डिसेबिलिटी को लेके वो राइट बेस्ड नहीं होता, तो कंजर्वेटिव अप्रोच रहती है। लेकिन पर्सनली जब मैंने अटेंड किया इनके इवेंट और इनको पढ़ा तो मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगा। तो मुझे लगा कि पब्लिक के सामने ऐसी चीजें भी आनी चाहिए कि क्या चाइ जो कैथलिक हेल्थ एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडिया है उसके काम है विद रिगार्ड टू पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटीज, कैसे ये शुरू हुआ और क्या आगे के प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं। लगभग 25,000 से ज्यादा लोगों को असिस्ट किया है चाइ ने, तो इसके ऊपर हम बात करेंगे। इट्स ऑनर टू टॉक टू फादर मैथ्यू टुडे। फादर मैथ्यू इज विद अस। फादर मैथ्यू, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर गिविंग योर वैल्यूएबल टाइम टू रेडियो उड़ान।
Thank you, Danish. You're most welcome.
Father Mathew, please tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, Danish, I am a medical doctor by profession with specialization in community medicine from CMC Vellore. And I am also a Catholic priest. And right now I am the Director General of Catholic Health Association of India since 5 years.
Great. Father, how long this organization is, how old this organization is, rather, and when did you incorporate disability, and what was the need of, disability to be incorporated in your projects?
Yeah, we are a 77-year-old organization. This organization, Catholic Health Association of India, was founded by 16 sisters, nuns, under the leadership of one Mary Glowry, who was a sister and a medical doctor. She was an Australian educated in the University of Melbourne, and then she came to India in 1920. Those days, it was by the ship and took about 2 months to reach here. She worked in Guntur in a small clinic, and after 20 years, along with these 15 sisters, they founded this organization. Those days, it was known as Catholic Hospital Association of India. And later on, because of the understanding of healthcare, we transformed that into Catholic Health Association of India.
Right. So when did you incorporate disability into it, and what was the need you feel?
Disability work was incorporated formally around 25 years ago, when Lilian Fons from Netherlands approached us to collaborate with them. That's the time we incorporated disability formally as part of the CHAI Directorate. Sisters were already doing a lot of work with children with disability and also people with disability. But then we started formal funding and all with the help of Lilian Fons about 25 years ago.
What were the basic projects you started with and you assisted? I went to your website and I read you have assisted around about 25,000 people.
Yeah, over these 25 years, we have cared for about 33,000 children with disabilities. The focus was on children with disabilities. Many of them have grown up now. They have become adults. The area of, initially, it was primarily an institutional-based model. And then over the years, we transformed it into CBR, the community-based rehabilitation model, because there are much more advantages in a community-based model. So we work on an average, every year we care for about 7,000 children in the areas of education, healthcare, social inclusion, and livelihood. So these are the 4 areas we work with.
Why do you think these 4 areas are very important to empower persons with disabilities?
Overall, we are not a one disease specific or highly focused kind of a network. Overall, we have a comprehensive approach. So whatever area we take, we try to do it comprehensively. And when it comes to people with disability, we just don't focus on the disability alone. We try to work with people with disability to bring out their full potential, including social inclusion as well as livelihood. So livelihood is an important aspect when it comes to disability, because many of them have a disadvantage, and sometimes they struggle with poverty issues.
Right. True. So I will come back on these issues later on. Before that, Father, when we were speaking offline, you told me you did not work with persons with disabilities. You joined Chai, then you came into that. So I want to understand what was your personal perception for persons with disabilities before, and what has changed after getting associated with these projects.
Well, my specialization is community medicine, so it's not specifically disability. So I started getting involved in disability work after becoming the Director General 5 years ago, because Chai had disability as a focus area. So I would say I got into disability formally accidentally, because as part of the responsibility. Overall, in our Catholic understanding, life is a gift, life is precious, and we value life. Every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, gender, social status, economic status, abilities, every human being is precious, unique. So we always look at human beings as something precious and valuable, and to be helped to reach our full potential. So that is our basic attitude towards everybody, including people with disabilities. During my childhood, I had some experiences of in my family itself, in my relatives. I have cousins who had locomotor disabilities and other difficulties. So we never found we found them part of a family, and we loved them as they are. So it's not something new for me, and I don't think working with disability has made any major difference in my attitude. That was there right from my childhood.
Great. It's really great to know. Father, many people target religious organizations for being conservative with regard to persons with disabilities. They say most of the religious organizations, no matter whether it's a Hindu religious organization or Christian or Muslim, they have charity-based approach, not right-based approach. How would you like to respond to them?
Well, in general, religions are more into a charity-based approach, because religions are more into compassionate care and those kind of stuff. But human rights are also important. See, for example, every person with disability, every person in a society have a right to social inclusion, have a right to livelihood, have a right to all that entitlements, the government schemes, everything that is available for every citizen. So rights-based approach is very much part of our philosophy as well. We don't get into confrontational rights-based approach. We work on a collaborative model where we work with those who are supposed to provide the rights, as well as those who are supposed to access the rights. We work with them because all of us have to work together to ensure that every human being, including people with disability, get their desired rights.
Right. You are working, as a Director General, and you might have gone through a lot of studies. You have met a lot of people who are coming and talking to you with regard to the challenges of persons with disabilities. According to you, if I may ask 2-3 things, what troubles you with regard to persons with disability, and you want those things to be corrected as soon as it is possible. So what are the challenges you underline before persons with disabilities, according to your experience?
Yeah, well, Danish, after working a little more into disability since 5 years, I have really, it has enriched my knowledge in the field of disability and the abilities of people, who are having disabilities. This has given me opportunities to come across people who have disabilities. For example, people who are, visual disability or locomotor disability. Have come people who are giving great leadership in the society, who have, were able to leverage the opportunities and become very, very inspiring presence in the society. So these were new for me, these kind of, experiences. So I feel that every person, the people with disabilities, if given the right opportunities, have great potential, and sometimes even have even greater potential, because they probably God gives them with talents which others probably may not have. So one of the challenges probably is that people with disabilities sometimes are denied of opportunities, sometimes are denied of some rights which can make a difference in their lives. I also feel that disability adds to poverty because of livelihood issues, opportunities for education, and also sometimes in some societies, cultures, there is a stigma, so there is a social exclusion. But these are some of the challenges the people with disabilities are facing, and we can make a difference in those areas.
Exactly. You have underlined, really you were bang on target when you underline these problems. And Father, you go to a lot of people, you hold conference with thousands and thousands of people. One thing what I want to understand from you, persons with disabilities are the most marginalized section among all disadvantaged groups. And one way or the other, they've been discriminated day by day. As you earlier mentioned, there is stigma attached to that. A lot of people are trying to aware people wherever they go now. Time has changed, technology has empowered. But somehow, attitudinal changes are not coming. We fail to aware people the way we must have. What should we do for that, according to you?
I think cultures are formed or attitudes are formed right from childhood. So we need to work when people are young or children to help them to understand that every life is precious, that every human being is unique, and we should not discriminate people based on any of those areas which I mentioned earlier. We should also help young people. Maybe we should bring it into the curriculum also. We should help young people in the schools or in the education institutions, in families, by probably not only by teaching them, but also sharing with them inspiring stories of people or inspiring video clips and those kind of things, where they will really come to know that there's a lot of potential for people with disabilities, or they have other abilities. So that is one way probably we can make a difference in the attitude of the society, and it is not easy. It takes a lot of time and effort. One of the reasons we established this award is also to encourage a change in attitude, because once we recognize people with disabilities and also people who work for disabilities, whether they are individuals or institutions, it can make a difference in the society. I think that it's a long-term process. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to come on the award issue. Before that, one, two questions I want to understand. When you call social inclusion, what do you mean by social inclusion? B, I want to understand how do you provide support for livelihood? If people wants to get associated with the chai, can individuals get associated with?
Yeah, let me take social inclusion. Danish, for me, social inclusion is, suppose we have a family and there are 2, 3 children and one child is having a disability. What do? Sometimes we love that child a little more than others because we know that this child needs special care and attention. That is social inclusion. It should start from the family. And in a village, if the child has to get opportunities, we need to make sure that this child is included in the educational system, in whatever. If there is a park or if there are recreational opportunities, this child should be part of everything. That's the way we can include. I think it should start at the grassroots level.
Absolutely, I agree.
Right from family, village, and of course, when it comes to leadership, whether that's grassroots leadership or state level or national leadership, we should make sure that people with disabilities are also with their own potential. They should be there. They should be heard. And if someone have a leadership skill, they should be given the right opportunities. So that is the way we should foster social inclusion.
Yeah. Do you think there is a need of regular disability discourse in India to generate awareness among mainstream society?
Of course, Danish. This is why I said this discourses should not be isolated discourses. If you could integrate it as part of the system, especially the educational system, because that is where social transformation happens. So I think then only we can really see a massive transformation or change in the society. So I wouldn't just say isolated discourses, 1 or 2 discourses, but it should be integrated into the whole system, especially the educational system.
Absolutely. Education is something which can change the lives of millions.
You yourself have experienced that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Father, I want to understand, or I want to know, we have gone through very tough time last year, and we are going through due to this COVID.
Yeah.
It has affected each and every section of society.
Yeah.
But one section which is hurt or hit badly was persons with disabilities. There are a lot of disabilities. They did not get proper rehab. They were not allowed to meet their caregivers. There was a shortage of blood. There was no medicines for some of the disabilities like hemophilia and thalassemia. So how did Chai help people during COVID?
Yes. See, every disaster, in every disaster, people who have some kind of a disadvantage will get more affected, which was true with COVID crisis as well. What we try to do is, in spite of the lockdown restrictions and all, our community-based rehabilitation, we have CBR workers who are in the field. They usually are in the same village or in the same locality. So we were reaching out to them through virtual platforms, whether it is telephones or through WhatsApp or whatever virtual platform available. And within those restrictions, with the permission of the authorities, local authorities, we got involved in distribution of dry rations because food was, livelihood was very important at that time. So we distributed dry rations. We also, after a while, we also started getting reaching to the communities, especially with those with disabilities, through our digital reach platform or digital platforms. And once the lockdown and all was over, of course, we resumed the activities. Of course, this was a very, very unprecedented situation, this COVID, and it hit us suddenly. The lockdown was very sudden. So some amount of suffering was there. People really went through a lot of suffering. We have seen all over the country. And it affected people with disability a little more.
Right. Father, let me admit gracefully one fact I want to share with you. I have won 7 national awards, Father.
Yeah.
And out of those 7 awards, I'm very happy and proud for 2 awards.
Yeah.
One is Kevin Care Award, given by Ability Foundation, and the other one is Mary Glory.
Yeah.
Why I'm telling this, the process and the way you do thorough study, and when you reach out to people, when you go to them and see whether they are really working, what has impacted. So I'm very happy because you need not to ask for details from someone. You can ask me, I can give you detail whatever I want, but I can write whatever I want. I can do something and then I can present. I have done a lot. But the way you really go after and research and include the same community member, whether you know them, whether they are working, that was very inspiring. And I always go on many platforms, I go for motivational lectures and then say, I'm proud of only 2 awards. Maybe it may hurt to the others that they would say, why, we have also given you, what's wrong we have done. But the way you, Kevin Care and Mary Glory Award I have received, I'm very happy. So I want to understand, when did you start it? What was the motive of these awards?
Well, we started this 2 years ago as a joint collaboration with Lilian Foundation and CHAI. The name is Mary Glory Liliane Berkelmans Award, MGLB Award. That's very interesting because these are 2 organizations inspired by 2 great women. I mentioned about Mary Glory, who a sister doctor, who founded CHAI. In the same way, Liliana Foundation was founded by another great woman, a lady called Liliane Berkelmans. She was a citizen of Netherlands, but I think she also was in Indonesia for some time. There she came across a girl called Agnes, who had a locomotor disability. And when she saw the way that girl was crawling on the ground, she realized how fortunate she was being in Europe, where she had a wheelchair, whether she had she got education and she could, her potential came out. So she went back to Netherlands and started this charity. Initially, she mobilized from her friends to support children with disabilities, and gradually it became a foundation. So these are 2 great women, and today we talk about women leadership, how they can make a huge difference in the society.
Right.
So we decided to start this award in the name of these 2 great women, Mary Glory and Lilian Founds, with Liliane Berkelmans, who are the founders of our organizations. This award is conceived for 5 years. 2 years are over. But beyond 5 years, we will find ways of sustaining it because we see that a lot of people are appreciating it. As you rightly said, Danish, we put in a mechanism to a very good mechanism for getting nominations and then screening it, shortlisting it. We have a very good criteria. We have a selection, a screening committee, a selection committee. And the selection committee, are people with the great repute within the country and outside the country. So that is how this award is done. I'm so glad that you appreciate the process of this award. And also I'm so glad, Danish, that you were one of the awardees this year. And you deserve it because this is chosen by merit. and you were way ahead of many of the applicants. In fact, this year we had 164 applications in two categories. We give award for institutions and also for individuals. So we altogether we had 164 applications, and from that we narrowed down to 4 awards. Yeah, mainly 4 awards.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Father. Father, what was the motive?
The motive, as I said initially, it is to encourage people with disabilities and also people who work with disabilities, and also to bring in an awareness in the society that, as we said, how do we build awareness for social inclusion of people with disability? That is the primary motive. Of course, there is also another motive of making chai known in the country, making Lilian fonts known in the country, because we have been working in this field for several years, and many people don't know about us. Danish, if this award was not there, you would not have come to know about Lilian fonts or chai, right?
True.
Yeah.
Father, you said there were people in your family who were persons with disabilities.
Yeah.
And you were in the medication.
Yeah.
And now you are you are Director General of CHAI.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we are human. So we may complain for things. We appreciate things. There are things needs to be changed, and there are things which have rapidly changed. What are the things, according to you, have changed positively for persons with disabilities in this 1 decade or 2 decades?
That's a difficult question, Danish. Unfortunately, I don't have much knowledge in that area, so I won't be able to say how much of change has happened. But definitely, from my personal experience, I'm sure that over these few years, there is more awareness about disability care, where people with disabilities are getting more opportunities. There are some good organizations that are doing funding or mobilizing funding. Government also has a department, and there are a lot of attempts to for working towards disability. That's my personal experience, but I am not very sure because I'm not very knowledgeable about how much of transformation that has happened.
No, you are very right when you say at least awareness level has increased. So people have got more aware. People are being empowered by various means. So, Father, as name suggests, Catholic Health Association of India. So we have seen a lot of developed countries, be it a developed country or developing countries, health infrastructures has opened everybody's eyes during this COVID.
Yeah.
So you yourself a doctor, and you fortunately, you are Director General of this CHAI. So what do you suggest to the GOB or to the civil society, how we can strengthen our health system and how people should take care of their health?
Well, Danish, as part of my work, I have visited different countries, and I was very impressed by the kind of inclusion, especially for disability, that has been done in some of the European countries and Australia and some other countries, Asian countries. So that's very, very impressive how they have thought of making infrastructures, whether it is road or whether it is vehicles or public places, how they have thought of all this while planning all that. I think to some extent in India we don't have such great planning, but maybe we should incorporate all that, keeping in mind when we develop our infrastructures and facilities. Well, all of us know that our health system is also have its strengths as well as its weaknesses. We have to learn from other countries. We have to learn from some of those good models. and we have to work towards it. Unfortunately, even the budget for healthcare in India is not a great budget compared to many other countries. Of course, we are a huge country. We are a complex country. So these things are also a bit difficult. But we should keep striving in strengthening our infrastructure, especially healthcare infrastructure.
You have pointed out two very important things. Accessibility issue. Father, I always say in every show that disability is inaccessibility. If things are accessible, there is no disability. So second thing, you rightly talked about budget, health budget. Government needs to, allocate more budget. Since we are a complex country and we are a big country with regard to population, so we need huge healthcare budget. So you have rightly said, I appreciate. So, Father, one question was pending about livelihood. How do you provide livelihood? And second thing, how people can get associated with CHAI? Is there any model? Do you collaborate by organizations or individuals can also be part of it?
Danish, livelihood is not our core area. We pick insights from other organizations and to learn from them and do something within our limited potential. Some of the areas where we do is livelihood initiatives are helping people with disability to pick up some skills, and if they have some special talents like dancing or those kind of talents, we encourage them, and we have in our program a group of dancers who try to make a livelihood out of that, but it's a very challenging thing in India. We also have youngsters who have become doctors, medical doctors, professionals through our support by the sisters. So these are some of the ways we try to help in livelihood. But I think one area probably we should be able to do is self-help groups or collective efforts and various other ways of. We are exploring some of those things, but then right now I wouldn't say that we are. This is our core area, so we are still. There's a lot to grow in area of livelihood.
Is there any upcoming project you want to continue with regard to persons with disability? You want to focus on the issues you have already picked up? Yeah.
Maybe some of those details I may not be able to say unless I take some inputs from my team members. Maybe we can talk about it, Danish, if you're interested. Maybe we can follow up with our team and figure out some more details, what they are doing at the grassroots. Yeah,
absolutely.
Funding is always a problem, Danish. We also struggle when it comes to sustainability and funding. Yeah.
Funding is always a challenge for all the organizations.
Yeah.
It is totally up to you to answer this question, whether you want to answer or not. Do you think to strengthen FCRA the way government has strengthened has also impacted funding?
Danish, see, every regulation is brought out with some intention, some purpose, maybe based on past experiences, and also to improve the systems. But every regulation will have its challenges as well. So this regulation has affected us also a little bit. We have been we are also trying our best to evolve in the context of these regulations. But right now it has not affected us much because our existing funding partners are continuing to support us. All that they are encouraging us is to, all they are requesting us is to make sure that we don't violate the rules of the country. We stick to the rules, but this regulation has really increased our workload, and also it has become some kind of a challenge which we are handling. We have not yet, we are still in the process of negotiating those challenges.
Right. Father, what would be your message to the society?
Well, Danish, I think that all of us will become disabled, or all of us will have some kind of a disability as we grow older. For example, my mother is 80 years old now. She has developed dementia, and she is not the same as she was 10 years ago or 5 years ago. She forgets things. Sometimes she even finds it difficult to remember some of our close relatives. Sometimes she gets confused about who I am. So I think disability is not something that affects only a few people. As we grow older, everybody in the society will become disabled. So rehabilitation is something universal, everybody needs. So that I think we should be sensitive to that. And I am looking forward to the time when I also develop some disability as I grow older. And I hope that the society will include me, the society will respect me, the society will, still treat me with some amount of compassion and respect.
No, Father, we want you to be healthy and work for the millions and millions people. So you have rightly said, people need to be more sensitized, people need to be more sensitive, and there should be comprehensive approach for persons with disability, because as we grow in one way or the other, everybody develops permanent or temporary disability. Thank you so much, Father, for your valuable time. I appreciate you joined and you shared your views. I hope you enjoyed the talk, and looking forward to talk to you in coming days as well. And whenever you have any project, and we are always ready to collaborate. We are always ready to tell more about your projects to persons with disabilities and even to the mainstream society. So you are always welcome. Thank you so much for your precious time.
Yeah, you're most welcome, Danish, and thank you for reaching out to us. I really appreciate all that you are doing. You're a great inspiration for me as well, and I look forward to any possibilities of collaboration, Danish. So take care and stay connected. Okay.
Thank you, Father. Thank you so much.
Bye.